Okay, so here's a huge disclaimer. I am not going to tell you anything you don't already know. Okay? Is that all right? Okay. So isn't this what we all want? Like just to be happy? You want people to smile. And, if you want your agency to grow, you really need happy clients. And that's awesome. But guess what? Happy clients aren't your job. Now, most of the time when I mention this to my clients, and I've coached over 125 agencies at this point, this is how they feel. They're like, "Oh my God, what are you saying?" But when I follow that up with your job is to create teams and systems that create happy clients, first of all, people think like, "Oh, interesting." And, "Oh my God, what does that mean? I don't know how to do that." And Tim, what if somebody screws up and we get fired? Oh, this is my baby. Oh my God, please. No, I have to be involved in everything. Well, that's not true because when you focus on your job of building teams and systems that create happy clients, you actually build your team's happiness and expertise because everybody wants to have a job. Everybody wants to feel like they're an expert and everybody wants to be responsible for something. Also, when you allow your team to do the work, they are accountable to the clients and they become responsible for the work that gets done and for the process and for the outcomes and for listening and for speaking. And so it builds their skills as an agency professional. And as the agency leader, you have got other stuff to work on rather than doing the stuff. Now, I know when I first became an agency owner way back in 2001, I got into it because I was good at marketing and I thought, oh my God, I can do all this stuff. And I did it all myself. Well, I drove that company right into the ground because I was so busy doing the stuff and being overly involved with my team and micromanaging and all that junk that I didn't have time to do silly things like send out invoices. So we were starving for cash because I was too busy doing the stuff that we were getting paid for. But I was not sending out any invoices, so we weren't getting paid for anything. And guess what? I'm going to tell you a really good story here. When you don't send out invoices for 6 months, when you do, clients aren't excited to pay them. So you as the agency owner / leader have many, many, many more things to work on than doing the work and focusing on the creation of happy clients. You have got to do things like hire more team members. You've got to develop an agency strategy. You've got to share your vision. You have to lead your team into a place where they can effectively execute their craft. Now, I want to give you 5 words that are guaranteed to kill your agency growth. Never mind, I'll do it. And I don't know if you count the contraction, maybe it's 6 words, but these simple words are agency killers because when you say this to your team, like I've got this idea for a report. Oh, but it's going to take me longer to explain it to you than for me to do it myself. So never mind, I'll do it. Well, what you have just done is you have just told your team member, hey, dude or dudette, I don't trust you enough to execute the thing in my head. I don't believe in your skill set to deliver something that is of the quality that I expect. I don't trust you to do this for the client. And how do you think that makes your team feel? Do you feel they feel like I'm going to run through a wall for you? Absolutely not. They're going to feel like, well, if it's hard, Tim will just do it. or like I don't have to understand how to do that thing or serve that client, or even I just have to do the tasks, and someone else will take care of the hard part. Now, it is your job to pull that away from your team, because you need them to accomplish the mission of creating happy clients. And you need to let them own the tasks and the operations and the accountability, the responsibility for creating happy clients. All right. So this is the question I get most often. So Smarty Pants, how the F do I do that? Because listen, I am a very busy person and I cannot take the time to explain every single thing to every person in the agency. And they're always asking me questions and I just can't do it. There's not enough time. So I just need to do this myself, and I'll just have them do the stuff that we already have an SOP for. Okay, fine. Well, guess what? There are roughly 1 million ways for you to accomplish getting your team to do the work that you were hired for, so that you can focus on providing more customer value, providing a better environment for your team, providing more resources and skills for your team, and providing more customers for your team to leverage their expertise upon. Now, what are some of these ways? You can model RACI, which is responsibility, accountability, consulted, and informed. That's a really good project management paradigm. So if you identify everything that needs to happen and figure out who's accountable and who's responsible, who needs to be told about it and who needs to be informed about it, that's terrific. That is a great way for you to empower your team by letting them be the responsible party. Or you can do something like EOS, which is the Entrepreneur Operating System, which is an entire management framework that really focuses on accountability and task management. Really good. My personal favorite, because it's lightweight and it's easy for everybody to accomplish, 5-Minute Fridays, which mean I give on Fridays, people need to tell me via email, and it can take no longer than 5 minutes, what they have accomplished in the last week, what they plan on accomplishing next week, what is in their way, and what is something that they need from me. That's it. And then we just put all that stuff in a spreadsheet, and I make sure I match up what they said they accomplished this week with what they said they were going to accomplish last week, and see if we've got a match. If we've got too much disparity, then I know it's time to jump in and have a discussion with that particular team member or that particular group leader to discuss, hey, there's a disconnect here. How can I help? There's also this idea of decentralized leadership and decentralized decision-making. This, honestly, I stole this from Jocko Willink's book, Extreme Ownership, where he basically says that everybody needs to understand what they do, what other people do, why everyone's doing it, and how all that stuff interacts, so that they can know where their task ends and completing the mission, and how their task fits in with completing the mission. I strongly encourage every agency owner, even just to read that one chapter, Decentralized Leadership. And then also internal client thinking. If you think of your business and the roles inside of your business as vendors to other parts of your business. So for instance, the keyword research team, their client isn't the end client. No, it's the account manager who's managing the search campaign. Or, if you are a graphic designer, your client is actually the programmer who's actually assembling all of your designs. So you need to start thinking about how you can serve and help. And as an agency leader, the most important thing to understand is you work for your team, not the other way around. Therefore, it is your job to give your team the tools and structures to allow them to be successful. So that's all sorts of stuff. That's SOPs, that's tools, that's time, that's effective account management, that's effective scoping of agreements, all that sort of stuff. Also, they are responsible for client satisfaction and retention. You lead them to the place, to the vision of what you want that client experience to be, and your team builds the infrastructure with your guidance, with your help, but they build the pieces because they've got to operate this machine. And finally, I think we're okay here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tim. That was great.